Alright guys, today we are going to be going through our value for money tier list for the Scout. This is the second last value for money tier list we're going to be doing, so let's lock in and let's enjoy it. As usual, we have the 6 tiers from S to F, and there are 41 Scout skins in the game as of May 2025, and we will rank them all. We get to kick it off with a very budget-friendly one in the Blue Spruce. This comes in at only 3 cents for minimal wear, and honestly, I think in CS2 this looks much better than it did in CSGO, and all of a sudden, if that is your style, it's a lot more viable. This is one for me that, although it's 3 cents, because there's not crazy artwork or it doesn't really fall into the majority's wants and needs with a Scout, I think B tier is fair. And then we have the Dragonfire, which always sort of creates an interesting proposition for us, because this is one of the best artwork Scouts in the game. It's kind of hard to argue against that, but it does come in at almost $18 for minimal wear, which is a bit heftier than you will see for some others. Plus, there's no scope design, so as much as I love this skin, I can't put it too high up in the tier list. Having an idea of what's to come, I think this is a B tier with the potential of an argument for A at the end. Then, coming in at $4 right now, in minimal wear, we have the Blush Pour. Now, I've sort of got two things for this one. One, I think the theory for this was better than the execution. I feel like pattern-based with a bit of holographic effect on this, or even pearlescent effect, would have been perfect, but it's still a very interesting skin. Secondly, it should drop in price very gradually over time, but I have to base it on the current price. And again, I think we're going to be filling up B tier quite early. I feel like $4 for that, for what you get, is probably better overall than this 3 cent skins, but we need to wait and see how it drops. There is someone out there that will hate me for this tech, but I think the Redstone at $7.30 is way too much than what it's worth. You'll see very soon there's a green version in the game that is a completely different scenario for pricing, and that's kind of what I'd want for it. I know different collections, older cases, trade up, blah, 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 all that can cause impact for the price, but ultimately, we're looking at value for money, and this lacks it. I was thinking D tier could maybe be harsh, but I think that's where we'll set it for now. And unintentionally, that green skin that I referenced is here. It's the green ceramic. This is 9 cents in minimal wear, and it is basically that redstone style. You got a palettey green rather than the red, and the scope gets a slight change on it. This is like the sort of price I want to pay for these skins. Give me these skins for like 5 cents to 30 cents, that kind of thing in minimal wear, and we're good. Personally, quite like the green ceramic, but I feel like that's my personal preference towards green, and there might be some people out there that read it the same as the blue spruce. I still kind of want to put it in A tier though. And now we get the interesting conversations. This is the sort of skin that in like on a different weapon, the skin pricing is a bit more varied, whereas a lot of Scouts come in like this sort of nice budget. So this at $1.65 minimal wear, full artwork everywhere. We've got scope design, we've got 3D mapping on it. Like this is a fantastic skin for the money you're paying. In another weapon category, I maybe only put this A, but I genuinely feel the Rapid Transit is like S tier value for money for the Scout. Under $2 for what you're getting is fantastic. So if you weren't going for Souvenir, the Death Strike would cost you an arm and a leg. But in Souvenir at minimal wear, it's $127, which makes it a little more feasible. I actually quite like the grip detailing that you've got for where you're holding it there, and also for you, I'm assuming, resting something on your arm. I don't use guns, I don't know, man. But I think the Scorpion design is really cool. I like the desert style. It just lacks scope design, and then even that means like at $127, is it worth it? A small part of me doesn't want to put it in F tier, because it's still a good skin, but I feel like based on the trend we've set, it probably has to be F tier value for money. Then we have the Slash, which is kind of an interesting one because it only comes at best condition in field test, and at times you can find stat track for the same price as non-stat track, but with that oddity aside, it's $1.80 for a black and orange sort of like tiger striped Slash skin. And overall, I think, again, the money you're paying for this is not on the level of the Rapid Transit, but it's pretty damn good. And one of the big things is we've got scope design as well. So I think under $2, I'd call that A tier. So if you haven't been clear by now, I want scope design, or at least want the scope to be like an accent color. The Bloodshot for me sits in a very similar category as the Dragonfire we first looked at. This is almost $12 for field test it. Yes, when you shoot it and it cocks back, it pulls out the eye and it has like the veins and stuff. Like that is a cool element. A little bit creepy for some people, but it's a cool element. And it just lacks that scope detailing, and the fact that you are realistically the best value is in field test, where it doesn't work too badly. It loses its chance to argue for being like S tier or even A tier, I feel. So again, I think this is like a nice B tier category skin. This next one isn't for everyone. It's the Tiger Terror. Straight away, people will look at it and see green and brown. It's camo based. I don't really like it. As someone who really hates the Jungle Tiger M4A4, and this gives similar vibes, I don't mind this here. It's 80 cent min wear. It's actually got full scope design, and it's got nice accent colors on it. So for under $1, this is actually pretty solid. This definitely deserves to go into A tier. Another one that you need to go for souvenir rather than standard is the Tropical Storm. And it'll run you about $6.10 in a minimal wear. And if I didn't state already, all the prices are from the 17th of May, 2025. I actually really like this skin. I think getting it and removing the gold stickers, or at least all of them but the map sticker, for example, is a kind of interesting play. It's much more expensive in non-souvenir. It just is. I quite like the St. Mark collection, even the lower rarity skins, not just the Wild Lotus and the Wild Lily. Not everyone likes that, though. And I'm getting really concerned if I'm actually going to have C-tier skins, because I feel like $6, again, this is kind of like this B-tier category. Now, despite being the most expensive scout on the whole list, the C Calico actually has some scope. Well, it's got a scope accent color. It doesn't really have scope design, but it's got the accent color there. But this is just one of those old collection skins that just, even Faction U 0.03 float here, you can see it gets battered at the back. And you know what? I can see why you like this skin, but this anything above $25 for me just seems nowhere near worth it. So it is definitely worse value for money than the Death Strike. Now, I am very, very mindful that there's a lot of skins coming up that have claims for S and A tier, and the mainframe is one of them. The amount of, like, purple and blue on this has always, since I started making videos, has always been something I suggest, or budget blue, budget purple loadouts, and all that goodness. My only gripe, as ever, the scope is just standard, and I think that's what stops it from being like this S tier. Now for ESN, it has to be right at the top of A tier, but I feel like there's better options that are going to come. Basically, we found our C tier standard skin. This is the Big Iron. It's $13.50 in minimal wear, and I've used it in field test in the past, but there's just something. It's hard to put into words, but there's something lackluster about this skin. Yes, the no-scope detailing is there, but I think just the pattern on it for like $13, you can get a lot better for a lot less. And I know there's definitely an argument to be made between like the Bloodshot, the Tropical Storm, and the Dragonfire, depending on your personal preferences. Maybe they should also be C in your opinion. And we got another S tier scout. It is the Abyss. This is 62 cent in minimal wear across multiple marketplaces. Yes, I am aware that if you get it in Battlescarred, it changes color and goes into this kind of like washed light fucking bluey green, but I want to price it in minimal wear. You get this lovely blue scope detail and blue base. Yes, I'm going to say that the secondary parts of the weapon are kind of the default colors, which is a small shame, but at least you're getting banging blue on the main and the scope for like 60 cent. And that's kind of where it takes like the cake over the mainframe. If the mainframe had scope design, 100% I put it S tier. Then we have potentially the #1 value for money scout in the game. This is the newly added Memorial, and it's incredible. It's 10 cent minimal wear. Now, I love that the actual scope has a little bit of color tinting on it. I like that we've got these tiles. It's like mosaic tiles all over the artwork in different bits. And there's just a bit of like a design everywhere on this skin for 10 cent. You can also get it in Battle Scarred, and it turns like this. This is a 0.95 float, and it goes like bronzy. The scope gets a little bit cracked, and it's like, well, it's the same price or a little bit less. So just really nice variant with this. Absolute S tier skin. That's S tier for design and for value for money, and it takes the top spot. Right, you might not be able to get the Death Strike, but you can get the Death's Head because it is under $8 in a minimal wear. And this is one I've always kind of liked, but I rarely get to suggest in videos, and I don't think I'd ever pick it up myself because the value for money is just, it gets a little bit lacking on it because of the lack of scope design and the fact that this browny dark orange would definitely fit into some loadout themes and could be enjoyed, but it's a little bit niche. So it's for that, I think that's another one that is actually like this C tier category. And once again, we've mentioned the Dragonfire multiple times for this. We've also mentioned like the Bloodshot. This is another one that falls into this category. It's the Turbo Peak. It's $11.20 minimal wear. Yes, for purple loadouts, it's fantastic. You've got this really nice purple base. Even the pink into it means like maybe Field Gloves, for example. You like this idea. And the colors on it are cool. No scope design though for a skin over $10. A little bit lacking. I do like, however, though, that it's got like the gear stick or the gearbox design on the back of it. That is kind of cool. But yeah, for me, this is B tier. Then we have the Dark Water Scout. Now, for me, I've never been a big fan of Dark Water. I try to push the spice to one side, but I feel like $2.60 for this minimal wear. The fact that it does just wear badly, and it's lackluster. I can't really recommend this as something for people to buy. To the extent I think it's D tier value for money, because like you would just steer clear of it, and there's so many other scouts you'd explore instead. Then we get the Blood in the Water, which is, I mean, Sparkle's notorious for like the trade up onto it, and his editor always does a great job putting his face on top of the shark, but this skin is shit for the price. Appreciate it's an older skin, appreciate it's something people get from trade ups, whatnot, blah blah blah. $52 though, min wear is just a big L. And honestly, this has helped provide some context for the Death Strike. I'm going to move the Death Strike into the bottom of D tier and put the Blood in the Water in F tier. For almost double the cost, you go from Blood of the Water to Death Strike, and it is more than double the quality better. So, like, I feel like we have to respect that. Now, there is a theme of the newer scouts kind of hitting what I want. This is a half-tone world. It's 16 cent minimal wear. You see scope design. You got lovely pattern through the whole full of the skin, and it's also pattern based too, so you can get different colors in different areas. So for 16 cent, it's not stellar, it's not S tier, it's not like taking your breath away, but it's pretty solid. For me, it's like a bottom of A tier value for money. Now, I genuinely don't think I've ever seen this used. This is the Threat Detector. It's almost $28 from factory new. The back of it wears kind of poorly. Thankfully, you don't see that in Idle too much. I do like the white scope and the orange bit on it. Honestly, it's giving me like those ice cream lolly vibes from like summer, the orange and like the orange flavored ones with the ice cream around them. Side tangent, but it lacks something. I love the white scope design. I feel like this at $5 rather than $28. Huge difference for what I think. $28 for it, and it's like the white scope is nice, but it's the only nice thing about it. I feel like it's D tier. And I'm once again here having to push my biases to one side. This is the Spring Tully. It's $1.82 for factory new. You can see again, it gets worn like shit at the back, but thankfully again, when you go to Idle, it's not too much. This is a stat of 0.03 factory new though, and you see your white scope gets a little bit of a beating. This is a skin that has big overpay for different patterns on it, so you can go down that route. So there's some interesting elements, but for almost $2, when we've seen the Abyss, we've seen the Memorial, we've seen the Rapid Transit, in 2025, this falls off a little bit. And that's as much as I love it. So for me, I'm going to say it is a worthy sort of low B tier category skin. I don't know why Valve decided to add the Lichen Dash and the Jungle Dash in, two very similar skins. This is the worst of the two. This is the Lichen Dash, $4, minimal wear, just a massively lackluster skin. It could find itself at the very bottom of D tier. In better news, there is the Necroboss. This is a 62-cent skin, which straight away I love it. I like the actual like tape wrap on the grip. The little bits of neon-y green coming through is like a nice touch for what you maybe see in movies, it's like related to this sort of genre. Scope design though. If this had scope design, guaranteed A tier, potentially conversation for S tier. Lack of scope design lets it down massively. And this is making me feel like I'm going to have to adjust my B tier a little bit at some point because we are getting quite full. But we do have back-to-back conversations for S tier skins. This is the Disastra. 12 cent for this in minimal wear. I've got to say, I'm a big fan. I am torn between this being at the bottom of S tier and the very top of A tier. I feel like it has craft potential, it looks good as well, and it's fairly neutral actually, so you can get away with it with a lot of different gloves and combos. It can go to the top of A tier for now as we finish it out. Then the grey smoke comes into the conversation, and this one for me, I like even more than what I was just waffling about. This is 9 cent minimal wear for it. I love how that grey smoke design looks on the scope and through the bottom of the skin. There's the green swirl that I use in the UMP. There's something about that pattern, and I think the UMP is definitely pattern based, not sure in the Scout, but those patterns when they are pattern based just offer like that nice little element for such a cheap skin. So for 9 cent, I'm not going to put it above like the Abyss and stuff, but I think it's worthy of S tier. And then we have the Xeno. I have been a fan of this since I got at it. I know there's some conversations around the fact when you do inspect it, you can see the red at the back, and there's also a little bit of red on the main, and maybe that should just be blue. But overall, I think the accent color blue is fantastic on it. The shine you get on the scope and stuff that you see here, like that reflective shine is so nice. And it is, although the scope is very close to the sort of default, it does have detailing on it a little bit, plus then accent colors. But like in hindsight, I'm going to say it's A tier. Like it offers something good, but it has those little niche qualities to it that not everyone loves. And then there's just something about filigree skins. They love being old in the game, and they love being expensive. Over $32 for this in factory new is just a tough sell. Once again, it has this nice sort of element of, okay, it's got a colored scope. We like that. What I don't really like is that the pattern kind of, I mean, I like that the pattern's on this like grey part, this greyish silver part, but it almost seems like it's been lazily placed there and that it doesn't really feel like it should be there. So this is just a very messy skin for $32. So it's F tier for me. I think if you were going for an orange skin for $5 less, you could just go and get the Threat Detector. It's a certified banger. It's the Acid Fade. This is $1.55 for factory new. Yes, it is pattern based, so you can get different levels of black to green going through the body of the weapon. This is just the random generated one, but that full Green scope is really nice, and I think I still have an acid fade. No, I sold mine, so I can't have it to showcase, but when you go to high percentage fades, while that black and green bit you see now goes heavy green, the back right starts to get like an ambery color through. But this is S tier for me. Like, it's got the scope design, it's got patterns, so you can go and get a personal preference. The patterns don't really change the price too much. And then this is what I meant when I was saying that, like, the S tier skins for Scout are looking good. This is the Fever Dream. It's $1.15 and minimal wear. Now, this is one of the few that's going to be able to break my big gripe on the no scope design. Whilst I think it is a missed trick, like, we should 100% have scope design on this skin. Like, I don't understand why. We get it on the op. It should be on the Scout because those accent colors could be fantastic. The patterns could be good. The fact it's just over $1 for minimal wear, and you're getting these bright blues and pinks that normally come with a little bit of a premium, it is very hard to argue against. Also, I've just noticed for the first time, it's got like a little dial at the back between like the love and hate, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, for me, that's another S tier one. No scope design, so we'll put it at the bottom. I feel like this one, everyone just hates because they're so used to getting it from the souvenir packages. It's the Prey. It's 3-cent factory new. I'm pretty sure this is the souvenir pricing, but it's a lackluster skin. We all get it from souvenir packages. We all hate it because of that. It's 3-cent though, so I don't feel like I can quite put it in D tier, but very bottom of C. I will need to stop ranting about scope design. Just note, scope design could have been here. Azure Glyph is a very interesting skin for me. I think it is so close to being like a almost perfect skin because I like the brown with that sort of like, that's the same sort of blue you get on the Water Nephthys from the same collection, all that goodness. It then just is that bit lackluster. I know it's a lower rarity skin, but I feel like we've missed a chance to even continue that wood effect onto the grip of the handle, onto the long bit of the... You can tell I don't use weapons, man. The long bit of the gun there. Lots of missed opportunities. Well, I think 18 cent for this is really good, and I don't think I can quite justify putting it in C tier because, while it offers something unique, but it's definitely the very bottom of B. And this is the reason that I can't rate the Dark Water high, because you can go get a carbon fiber in factory new, in souvenir, for under $1. So it is like half the price of the Dark Water. It's not a stellar flashy skin, but if you like that blackout vibe and you like carbon fiber style, whilst I would like the scope to have been carbon fiber, please Valve, it's a solid like budget skin. I will say though, it's nowhere near S tier and it's nowhere near A tier. For under $1, it's B tier. God, B tier is so full. We're back on to our other dash. This is the Jungle Dash. It's 7-cent minimal wear. I have shown appreciation to a mix of like budget Scout skins here that are different color palettes. Some my preference, some not. This just missed the mark for me completely. Like, although it's 7-cent, it's just... I can't see anyone when there's other options in there for 8, 9 cent, 15 cent, that kind of thing. I can't see this one being used. Like, if we directly compared the value for money you're getting from the Memorial, from the Abyss, and from this Grey Smoke, yes, the Abyss is a bit more expensive, it's C tier. It's like with the Prey. We are on to the final few skins. This is the Handbrake, which I'm pretty sure is from the Inferno Collection just by looking at it. This is, once again, a skin that I think just goes under the radar. It might be for good reason, because it doesn't have a lot to write home about on it, but it's an interesting blue with bits of white and silver. The scope, if that was silver, would be kind of banging. It's 39 cent. So again, I think this is where B tier gets so filled for me, because it's like, it's a solid value for money, but is it offering that much? Maybe this is where we need to have a bit of a review of what should be B tier or C tier. When I look at what's in B tier, you know what? That's going to go C, and I'm going to be harsh, but I'm going to put the Azure Glyph into C tier as well. One of the things I do like about the Mayan Dreams is it has the accent color on the scope, so that's nice to see. It also has the same sort of smoky effect pattern that you would see on the Fire Serpent. It is just... It's $6, it's an older skin, it wears kind of rough, it's not the ideal color palette, it makes it a tough sell for a lot of people. And I think when you can be going for like a Battle Scarred Memorial, you can go for a Blush Pour, you can go for different routes. I think it's like C tier value for money. It's like solid, I like the pattern, it's just really hard to sell. And this one is going into D tier. I can't fully shit on it and put it on F tier because it's not a ridiculous price, but it is almost $12 for the Sand Dune Scout. I know Gochu's going to be watching this, he's going to be shaming me for this because he likes it, and there are other people out there that like it, but I think $12 for this, for Pillion skin, like I was saying with the redstone, for example, and then the green ceramic being much better, it's that same sort of comparison, which means it can go nicely into this same sort of category with the redstone. I think one of the reasons why that skin from Inferno that I was just talking about, that I've forgotten the name of, that's fantastic, the Handbrake. This is the Ghost Crusader. It's $1.04 minimal wear. I don't know what it is. I think both of them give the same sort of vibe because it's blue, white with a bit of silver, no scope design in the same sort of price category. I struggle to enjoy this one. Or like, I like shiny skins, I like silver skins. This just, the execution has been attempted and it just comes out not stellar. Sorry to the artist. You're much better than I am. $1 for this? Okay, I think this is where I can more fairly sort of group things into C tier, actually. As we've got to these skins, I can kind of be like, yeah, I wouldn't really suggest those, whereas these ones up the top, I can see where they are, but I do need to reshuffle some of them. The Parallax is a scout skin that I've actually been a big fan of a lot of the time because it gives that chromatic aberration vibe, but black and white. Scope design, lacking. I feel like even some small touches there could have been good. It's now $5.20, which seems a lot more than I ever remember. I know when you inspect it, the 360 text also makes some people feel like a bit weird on the eye. So while I like this, I'm going to have to not throw my bias into the pot and sort of rank it fairly. Which, fairly for this, I think is actually in C tier. I think this Mayan Dreams, this Big Iron category, this Death Heads category is where it deserves to be. And finally, we end up with the Detour for just over $10, well, $10.75. This one is, again, I have seen some people using it, and I just don't really see the appeal of it. I know it hits the white and black element, and the Parallax does that too, but it's a bit weird on the eyes. So this hits the white and black element, maybe that's why people like it. But I would have preferred to see white detailing go a bit further on it, and maybe have some of that pattern that you see that is actually kind of cool elsewhere on the skin. It's like $10. I think it's D tier. I think it's D tier Life Money, if I'm being honest. Which means this is how we've come out, but as I mentioned, I feel like I need to shuffle some things around just a little bit. That is it. Done and dusted. This is the Scout Value for Money tier list. Just to sort of round up where we're at. There is the Super Mountain S tier and A tier, but I think there's so many good options, it just has to be that way. My S tier, I have Memorial Inn at number 1, followed by the Rapid Transit, the Grey Smoke, the Abyss, the Acid Fade, and then the Fever Dream, kind of scamming its way in without scope design, but it's very nice for the price. And in my F tier, I've put in the Orange Filigree, the Blood in the Water, and the Sea Calico. I have given the Death Strike in its souvenir for $127, the benefit of the doubt, and put it in D tier. Now, I will have this tier list linked down below, so you guys can do it, and you guys get involved in the Discord and show me what you think it should be looking like. Outside of that, you can let me know some feedback in the comments down below. What do you think of the tier list? Do you think there's anything I should be changing immediately? You can let me know in a nice manner in the comments below. But that finishes us off, so I just want to say a big thank you to the YouTube members that are continuing to support the channel. We have a new YouTube member in Civic Fox, which means they get to jump the queue for next week's viewer loadout, so we're going to be cooking something super cool for that. If you want to be able to jump the queue as well, hit that join button down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you're around here, and this map is kind of cool actually. What did you think of it? I'll catch you in the next one. Good. Bye.